Hi.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Alan Reinhart Show, coming to you again from my shop in Arizona. I actually thought I was going to be coming to you from Las Vegas this weekend, but last minute change of plans. I'm not going to the regional race up there. So that gives me more quality time with the challengers and more time to hang out at home. And Nicole looks like she's in her usual spot. Wonderful to see you as always, Ms. Clark.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm in the wonderful Wish TV studios here in downtown Indianapolis and continuing my Clark shirt theme.
I like it.
Got another family shirt.
What? I like it. How many of those do you have?
Well, I got for like each generation we have. I'm not gonna lie, the other ones I couldn't wear because they were crop tops. They're like, 80, doing the crops. Yeah, and I was just like 60 pounds skinnier. So yeah, I tried it last night. I was trying to pick out which one. I'm like, that's not it. So we're going with this iteration.
Right on. Well, welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and start with the hot topic since the last week or 2 weeks ago that you and I got together. Boy, there's been a lot of news in the last couple of weeks. You want to go first? You want me to?
Oh, you can go. Let's see. Let's start off. Well, let's start off with IHRA and the big man Dale Creasy. Why don't you start off since you were there?
Yeah, Dale Creasy now 2 for 2 on the funny car side over in the IHRA. And remember, this year there is a season-ending point fund, and I guarantee you he's got his eyes on that. Speaking of which, if you haven't seen it yet, the lead story on competitionplus.com this weekend is a flashback to Dale Creasy from I can't believe it's been almost 20 years ago. I won't ruin it, but go back. It was a big moment in his funny car career that really changed a lot of the world for him. But he is right now on top of the world and running very well. He and Del Worsham had a barn burner of a final round, and Creasy put a 419 up on the board and took home the cash and took home the Ironman again. So he's trying to throw some points up on the board. We also Gary Pritchett made it back to the final round, but he came up a little short to Scott Palmer. Pritchett looked like he was out in front pulling away and had a throttle bracket break is what I'm told. But Scott Palmer picked up his first of the year, and that Top Fuel deal is going to just be a wild one over there on the IHRA side of the fence this year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Johnny Placino and the Mountain Motor Pro Stocks took home the win, and it was just an absolute war in the Pro Modified category with 21 cars out there battling it out, and you can check out the results on competitionplus.com.
Well, and I think the other fun thing at IHRA, and I put it on social media, was the two familiar faces we don't normally see. Having Alan Johnson back.
Yeah.
Driving for Camry, and then John Capps jumping into Jasmine's car too. A little bit tiny for him, but that was great driving by him.
Yeah, John Capps actually said when he got in the car that it was a little bit of a snug fit. And I guess for those that don't know, Jasmine was a little under the weather for the weekend and just didn't feel like it would be a safe and wise move for her to get in the car. IHRA does have a rule that you can use a substitute driver if you're not feeling well. John Capps was there, as I understand it, he was there to drive Bob Gilbertson's funny car. But when the offer came up to drive the dragster, he went ahead and got in that. And he said, if they have to cut me off at the ankles to fit, that's fine. I want to drive this car. I definitely want to do it. Qualified well, unfortunately for him, smoked the tires in round number 1. And Alan Johnson, I'm really kind of bummed I never got out of the tower to go see him. But Pro Stock Alan Johnson, who was the 2012 maybe world champion on the NHRA side of the fence, jumped in for Camry Caruso. Camry is going to take some time away to start a family, so congratulations to her. And that means that Alan got the call to come out. I believe he's going to drive that car for the rest of the year, but I don't know that that's been officially announced yet.
Yeah, when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, they made a mistake. It says Alan Johnson. He's not driving. And because I'm like, it says Camry on the car. And then I'm like, I saw the top end interview and I'm like, well, I'll be. He's such a good guy. I'm glad to see him out there racing. And because I was watching IHRA on the computer, NHRA on the TV, and I live so close to IRP, Lucas Oil Raceway, I can hear them, and they had ET bracket finals this weekend. So I'm like, I was totally overwhelmed, racing everywhere you looked around my house. So
yeah, sounds like a lot going on. NHRA had the weather gods in Pomona have not been very kind to them the last couple of visits out there. They did get the race completed, but they did have to fight in and around some weather throughout the course of the weekend. Finished up the Sportsman a day early, just so they wouldn't end up getting hung over. But once they got to racing on Sunday, that was a pretty darn good show. Tony Stewart picking up his first for Elite. That was a big moment. Matt Hagan winning the 1,000th funny car race in NHRA history. That obviously a big moment and a milestone. And that Greg Anderson guy, he and Dallas still look like the class of the field. And, and Dallas goes 003 and Greg still didn't let him get away. And credit where credit's due. I believe Greg was 18 in the final round, but both those guys were really on it. And they put on a heck of a show for the fans, as they always do.
Oh, yeah. And the thing with NHRA, too, like I said, I was shocked they got him Friday and Saturday as it was. And for a Sunday to kind of be like the only it was a long day. And like I said, everybody who works in the TV truck, everybody who, the racers, everybody who put that thing on Safety Safari, they put in a long day Sunday and they did an amazing job. So kudos to those. And along that lines, people did talk about the cleanups by, Schumacher twice. Can you explain that? I mean, you're the techie guy. I don't know. I just know it was a long time, but you can explain a little bit more about what happened.
Well, Schumacher's car, now I wasn't there, so everything I got was either from the TV broadcast or from the internet. But Schumacher's car broke a rear differential on Saturday. Now, they broke some differentials last year, but that was a different brand of differential. The one that Rick Ware Racing runs in both of their cars, and of course that's who Tony drives for, come out of the Chrisman shop. And to my knowledge, there had not been a Chrisman rear failure. When he broke one on Saturday, and just because gear oil is very thick and it's synthetic and it is just a monster to clean up. There's no quick, easy way to do it. Engine oil is not terrible. Transmission fluid is a bit of a headache, but that can be dealt with. Rear end grease is just a disaster to try to clean up. And when you break the thing 200 or 300 feet down, and then it basically shells the engine at that point, because once you take all the load off the engine's going to explode. There is Bruce Lee couldn't get his foot off the gas fast enough to stop the engine from blowing up if the rear end breaks and it freewheels. And then they got all that squared away, came back on Sunday with what I'm told is a brand new rear differential of the car. And the first run down the racetrack, it broke again. So I have no insider knowledge. I wasn't, obviously I haven't seen the car, but it just seems to me a part that has never broken before, that breaks back-to-back runs on one particular car. There might be something with the car, not necessarily the part, because, a lot of guys run those Chrisman rear ends. And again, I don't know that anybody's ever broken one. So for two to break back-to-back, I guarantee you the guys over at Rick Ware are fine-tooth combing that thing, because that is expensive. Basically, when a rear end breaks, everything behind the roll cage is junk. It's going to knock the blower off of it. It's going to throw the rods out of it. It certainly can damage the clutch just from overspeeding. And those rear ends ain't cheap either. So yeah, that is a major, and to have two of them happen literally on back-to-back runs. It happened on the first qualifying session on Saturday. I don't know why. Again, I wasn't there, but looking at the qualifying results, the Tony Schumacher car did not make a run Saturday night. So after it broke on Saturday, they went back, fixed it, came back with a brand new rear end, and it broke again. So I'm sure that they're going over that thing with a microscope, but there's something very strange when nobody's ever broken one, and then the same car breaks two of them in a row.
Yeah. And then the other thing people were talking about Pomona too is, oh my gosh, Justin Ashley's reaction times. I mean, what did Tony Stewart was saying on somebody else's podcast, something like, or Hagen, God was whispering into his ear to get him to go. Hagen had a wonderful interview, if you haven't seen it, on the pits, but his reaction, he had a 25, and a 36 on race day. And I don't know what is in the water over at Skag, because even Will Smith, his Q1 he lost, or E1 he lost, but he had a .029. What is in the water over at Skag, man? They got those reaction times.
The interesting thing about that, and last year when was following, Justin Ashley is, obviously somebody has to be the best, right? If you figure up any stat, there's going to be somebody that ends up number one. But the fact that he's got a sizable advantage, right? I mean, we're not talking about 1,000th of a second or 2,000ths of a second. He's 100th and a half in front of everybody else in the field. And I couldn't help but wonder if it was something they were doing with the cars. Because one of the reasons that nitro cars don't have reaction times like super gas cars do is because the car doesn't react as quickly. With a super gas car, when you let go of the button, the car's going right now. With a nitro car, when the driver hits the gas, because the engine's idling and it's a centrifugal clutch, the engine has to come up. Then the clutch starts to engage. Then the rim starts to rotate and the tire squats. Then the wheelie bar hits the ground. Then it rebounds. Then the car moves forward. So all of that stuff takes a little bit of time. And that's why, like double O's are unheard of in nitro cars unless the driver's either in deep or took a little guess at it. But I always thought maybe they figured out something to make the car react faster, because there have been things in the past that crew chiefs will come up with to get the fuel delivery a little quicker, to get the clutch to apply a little quicker. But if that was the case, then Tony Stewart's car would be doing the same thing, because after Mike Green being there for a few years, when he went over to Elite now, then Tony's car would be doing the same thing. So, Mr. Ashley, a tip of my cap, sir.
And of course,
and apparently he's taught Will.
Oh yes, apparently he has. So I'm like, there's something over there. And then of course it was all about funny cars this weekend with the Matt Hagan getting that 1000s, and I love that they had the legends in the house to collect and honor them. Johnny Gray, we haven't seen him out there for a while, and he was out there. It was really good to see him, and he was even in the booth for a little bit too. And Bruce Larson and Travis Shoemake accepted for his dad. Brittany accepted for her dad. It's very cool. And Cruz was out there.
Yeah, Tim Wilkerson, of course, who won the 400th and the 500th, if I'm not mistaken. So he gets a little double cameo there. No, what NHR is doing with their 75th anniversary is pretty special stuff, bringing back the legends and making all that happen. I have to tell you, I was watching the Fox broadcast from my house, and when the final two funny cars pulled up for the who's going to be the 1000th winner, I couldn't help but think somewhere up there, Don Schumacher's got a cigar in his mouth and a big smile on his face, watching two of the guys that he helped, such a big part of their career, battling it out for that 1000th win.
Oh, I think you're right. That is very cool. And Matt was, other milestone, he was the first into the fours, correct? Or at least just at Charlotte then, because he's talking about they're going to honor him there next week too.
In the threes.
Sorry.
First in the threes. Yeah, he went 399 out there in Charlotte, the first guy to do that officially after we'd gone to 1,000 foot. There had actually been at least one 3-second run come up in the 1,000 foot back when NHRA was racing to the 1320. But once we made the official change to 1,000 foot, he was the first one to break that milestone. And now it's so normal, like everybody yawns, right? It's like 395. Yeah, what's wrong with it? But it's crazy.
No, so it was, like I said, I was watching all three, or watching two, and then had that. Oh, and then Friday watching Artemis. So, but yeah, like I said, both races were great. Another shout out at IHRA too is I forgot to mention Corey Reed. Same thing in the small tire brats, back to back also.
Well, he's driving Matty Bujinga's car, the one that they call Freddie, and it's fascinating to me because when you're racing no time stuff, you're genuinely curious, at least I am, is like, just how big an advantage do they have, right? I mean, street races back in the day, big dollar street races that I used to see when I was 14 years old and didn't know better because nobody's ever done that lately. A guy didn't want to win by 15 car lengths, right? He wanted to win by a fender. That way you'll come back next week and you'll bet him again because I know I can get him this time. But I'm just genuinely curious as to how fast that thing really is if they turn it loose. And I can tell you there's a lot of guys that are getting a little annoyed. I mean, Jeff Lutz came out, brought 2 cars out there, and even he couldn't stop the guys. So that's going to be a fun one to watch going forward. If you like small tire, big power, just that car is ridiculous. And Corey obviously is doing a great job with it. One of the things about no time racing, we don't get to see reaction times either. So,
really?
You don't get anything. You get a blank screen. So, now Corey, reaction times was something Corey was pretty good at when he was driving the Pro Stocker and even on the bike. So I don't believe that he's going to be the weak link over there when somebody does finally beat him.
Nice. What do we have up? I think, do we have Stevie's almost ready, or would we like to go into, do you have any other hot topics you wanted to talk about in racing?
I don't have any hot topics, but one thing I was going to throw out from the Ask the Announcer is last week I pitched the idea of, would you be interested in some tech things? And it was a resounding yes about the tech things. So I guess we could, if Steve's here, we could do the tech later, or we can take a couple minutes and do that now. You make the call.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we might want to get it in now because I think we know our guest very well.
You think Steve's going to talk for so long? Actually, you know what? Let's bring Steve on. He was nice enough to join us this week, and so let's go ahead and bring him on. And if you want to see the tech stuff, you're going to have to wait until a little bit later in the show. So let's say hi to Pro Stock Motorcycles Iron Man, Stevie J. Oh. There he is.
Hi, Stevie.
How you doing? I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Nah, we're very excited to have you. You've been the Iron Man of Pro Stock Motorcycles. Did you ever in your wildest dreams imagine that would be you when you started doing this?
I know the theme of your show, and I got ready because I come up with a whole bunch of things in the old days that would have never allowed me to think. I've always said I just wanted to be part of the fraternity. Matt and Vance and Hines and George Bryce, all the people that have won championships. Don't forget Hector and Gino Scali. You know, so I just wanted to be a part of the fraternity. But I never would have imagined racing a pro stock motorcycle for 40 years.
How many guys are still out there that went head to head with John Mafaro?
Yeah. You'd be better off asking how many people riding a motorcycle know who John Mafaro is.
Yeah, I believe John had retired even before Matt Smith came out there and started tearing the place up. Well, let's talk about, Steve, how did you get started? Why motorcycles, and how did you get started in pro stock motorcycles?
Pizza John, I got to show you. I love Pizza John. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Pizza John, he's struggling with his health a little bit, and he calls Emma Gabby because he can't remember her name. But it's all good. It's all good. He came out to a race, and I love being able to show some hospitality to the people. Randy Mason's an older name.
Oh, he's froze.
Did I freeze?
I think he did.
What's that?
Steve froze. Oh, hey, it's
by the
for
way,
once it's not me. My internet's the one that always freezes. For once it wasn't me.
I've got that Elon Musk thing, and maybe it. What a bummer, man. But anyway, I was talking about the hospitality, just showing the riders that have retired. Like when Gino came out, I was so excited, and he's gone here and there, and he's won a championship, so he's always Mac Daddy to me. So and it's nice that you recognize and you remember Pizza John. That's very nice of you.
You started out. You grew up in Southern California. I know you're in Alabama now, but talk a little bit about how you got started and why pro stock motorcycle. Why'd you end up there instead of one of the other categories?
Well. I thought about this a little bit, and it's really the presentation that I do at the schools when I do the Batman Scholarship, be a technician. It's 15 and a half in Southern California, back a while ago. You could drive a car with a permit with your mom or dad, but you could ride a motorcycle by yourself. And at 15 and a half, it's like I got some freedom. My bike wasn't legal. I literally put a headlight, or I literally put a flashlight on it and stuff. But another story. But I love the motorcycle because we dirt bike rode, and I rode the dirt bike on the street, and I had freedom, and then from that I moved out before I was out of high school with my buddy Jim Laronis, and they were all about motorcycles. And I'm telling you, the most coolest thing, if you could just picture yourself, and back in the old days. In Southern California, it's 75 degrees out. It's about 11 o'clock at night. Everybody comes to Jim's house on motorcycles. because that was the cheapest thing. None of us had any money, and we all had Kawasaki 900s or Honda 750s, and we'd ride street bikes to the street races, and no helmet, and we'd pick up girls or our friends or whatever, and we just have so much fun. And then we discovered then we knew about drag racing, but the street was a little tough. But then, man, Terminal Island and OCIR and Palmdale, Pomona wasn't really a thing back then, but gosh darn, you got to go 11s for under $1,000, and who can do that,
Okay, so that's what set the hook. And let's go back to when, like, you were younger and bouncing around. Here's a fun fact that I bet most people watching don't know, certainly the new fans. You and Larry Dixon were roommates for a while. That had to be pretty wild.
Oh, it was so much fun. He was on we were friends, Karen Stouffer and Beckman and Gary Stouffer. We were all hanging out at the street races, and we had our own local little street races. We all showed up one time on dirt bikes, and rode around to wait for cops to chase us. But we didn't do drugs. We just kind of got in trouble with our vehicles. But man, Larry Dixon, just life goes through, and I got in a fight with my gal, and I needed a place to move in, and he helped me, and I stayed with him, and then he moved in with me, and he put grass. He had money. He put grass and sprinklers and made the whole place fancy. You should check out Steve and Larry on YouTube with NHRA Today. It was their #1 show that was watched. But he showed up and he had money, and he motivated me because he had his Wallies there. It was so much fun, and he got chased. He was racing this 50. Bob Brent, who was a famous Don Pernone crew chief, he came to the drag race. He came to the street races with a Hemi, I think, in this Fury thing, and we raced him and won. But Eddie raced him, Eddie Alvarez. But Larry raced on that same race with his 55, and we're all standing there right next to him. And Larry took off, and the other guy took off, and they went down. And like 4 seconds later, a helicopter come by. And Larry turned around and came back the other way, and the helicopter was on him. And long story short, he got thrown in. He had a choice. He was going to go to his dad's house or go to a dead end and get thrown in and get caught. And he says, I'd rather deal with the cops than my dad. But, it's funny how we all, he's got stories on me too, but he's not here. And I can kind of let everybody know he's a regular guy too.
Yeah, the Odd Couple video. Yes, is that their video you're referring to? Is the Odd Couple when they went into your house?
Yeah. It's obviously, it's our deal, but it's a little corny. But I'm really, really proud of it. It's just us, and Larry elevated me. He helped me, and I wanted to race pro stock, and I wanted to win, and I really didn't have a chance of winning, but I thought I did. I just didn't understand what I understand now.
But you had the shed. For all that Larry dolled up around your place, you had the shed.
I did. I had a shed. Inside the shed, I bought this 81 Chevy pickup truck, and it had a 30-foot box on it. Y'all, do the math. Trot, it is way out of proportion, and it did not stop. And it had propane. On top of everything, it had a big block and a propane fuel. The fuel was propane. And so I took the propane off and throw the extra tanks in the shed, and I just never paid the attention. And when Larry got his cameo to do the Odd Couple, he told everybody how perfect he lived and how shitty or how bad I lived as far as cleanliness. And then he proved it by taking, you guys all have a shed in your backyard that's got a bunch of junk in it. Well, I did too.
Your first pro stock motorcycle race, you loaded everything in a crate and shipped it to the racetrack. That's crazy.
I did. And I brought a picture. Gosh darn it. I can't believe I brought the picture here. I cannot believe. What did I do? So what a so it
He froze again. It's not you, Alan. He froze again.
I am so happy that it's not me that's freezing on the internet this week because it's always me.
Not this.
Is it free? Did it unfreeze?
Yes.
Yeah, you're back. Welcome back.
Okay.
The other Johnson.
And we lost you again.
On this motorcycle was a one. Kidding me? How about now?
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
good. Go. Stop moving.
Okay, so
That's not gonna
it had a 1 gallon gas tank. 1 gallon gas tank on this motorcycle. It was a Z1. It was a stock chassis, and Lester White raked it, and I put a 10-inch long swing arm on it and an offset sprocket, and I was racing pro stock. I was so excited. We went from the street racing, and I raced in some pretty fancy street races back in the day. They were I didn't get much money, but but they were a lot of fun. But I raced Tommy Bolton. Tommy Bolton, that's a voice from the past, but it was a lot of fun. And the motorcycle was in a crate. We were supposed to get a ride, and from California to New Jersey, and it didn't happen. So then with 3 days, we built a crate and we air freighted it there. And I saw Connie Coletta at dinner, and I said, "Hey, Connie, I shipped my motorcycle here in an airplane. Like, now we're tight, right?" And he kind of looked at me like, "Nice. I'll have the double steak, Yeah, but anyway, it was a lot of fun shipping in a crate. And the funny thing about the whole deal is we won first round. I was talking to Alan Przinski about 2 weeks ago, and the guy that beat me in the second round because my bike didn't shift. That's my story. He was at Alan Przinski's, and somehow they were talking about that. So that was 1987. So that's 40 years ago, right?
And you put this motorcycle in a box on a plane, sent it to New Jersey with no idea how it was going to get home.
Oh yeah, you know the story.
Never even thought about it.
I forgot all about that. I cannot believe what I did with the darn picture. What the heck? I brought it over here just I probably took it. So anyway, yeah, I had no idea. And it turned up that Team Torch, Paul Lesage, really good guy at the races. He saved NHRA's butt 1 million times. He negotiated with Alan Johnson and Everett Johnson Blaine to put my bike on the stairs in between the lounge and the bottom floor.
Wow.
And that's how it rode from New Jersey all the way back to Bakersfield, California, where I picked it up.
Wow.
Yeah,
You've come a long way.
Yeah. Well, I got a tractor trailer, and then I used to ride around in the pits looking at everybody's tractor trailer saying someday. And then I ended up buying Antron Brown's old truck and trailer, and then had a little tiny heyday in drag racing financially, and Dale Earnhardt helped me sell die cast, and I thought I always watched Bernstein in Winter Circle, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have watches with my name on it. I'm gonna have towels. I'm gonna have everything. I thought I was gonna be famous, right? And so it didn't really work out.
You're coming back. You're unfreezing.
Yep.
You're thawing. There you go.
We're going to have to put him in a microwave.
What's the last thing you heard?
That you were going to be famous and it didn't quite work out. I think it worked out fine.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who you are.
If you're into editing, you could put that in anywhere.
How about this though?
Look,
you have because racing has been your job, and there are so many others out there that racing is not the way they make a living. Between some of the sponsor relationships you've had and some of the people you've got to meet over the years, you've been to NASCAR stuff, you've been to IndyCar stuff, you've been to about everything on the planet. You have had a pretty wild ride out there, even when you weren't on the motorcycle.
Man, if you skip the cash deal, you retire. Bernstein retired. All the Prudhomme retired. I'm opening this door to see if I can get some better maybe reception. But I don't want to say the obvious, but I mean there for sure is a lot more to life than just accumulating money. I had a friend who helped me with some engine stuff. Kurt Leverton, he sold his company for way over 50 million, and a tree fell on him and killed him, and it's like, and he barely had the money a couple of years. So he was very successful even before he sold his company. But you got, if I could encourage anybody, and I'm going to a college tomorrow to talk about drag racing as an engineering standpoint, which is a little odd, but they want me there so I can encourage the students to keep going with their engineering degree. So they're in their first year. They want me to get them to go to the second year, and I sidetrack the deal, and I tell them, man, you got to do what you're happy at. Everybody says you'll make tons of money, or you'll make enough money to be happy if you're doing something that you love. So I try to drive that home, and I am very fortunate to hang out with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Elliot, all the NASCAR guys is really fun. Kurt Busch is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he came into drag racing, and we became, kind of friends and stuff. So that's, and to know Bob Glidden, I golfed with Bob, and I'm friends with Rusty and Billy, and so, I mean, I got to go to Bob Glidden's house. I mean, that's cool stuff,
I just have to share real quick my favorite Bob Glidden story. When I was a kid, I was always a Ford guy. And Bob Glidden obviously won all those races in Ford, so he was my guy. And then years later, he was out here. He was actually working with Mark Powick at the time, and they were in Tucson. They were testing before they headed over for Pomona. And I was out at the racetrack just hanging out. Bob needed to get to the airport, and they wanted to stay and make another run. So I said, well, you know what? I can run them to the airport. That's no problem. And I had my 67 Mustang out there, which is my high school car, my pride and joy, which I still own. And I'm thinking to myself, Bob Glidden in my car for about 20, 25 minutes to the airport. I have a captive audience, and I'm going to learn everything he knows so I can make my car run like his did. And all he wanted to talk about the whole way to the airport was how cool my car was. Never got one question about engines or horsepower or any of that kind of stuff. But no, Bob was a really, really good dude and a really sharp man and a really hard worker. So
I asked
a great part of the sport.
I'll ask you, Alan. I might have already asked you. So here's Bob Glidden, and his shop is right across the way, right? And his house, he's got birds and stuff. So if you pull up in his driveway and you get out and you go in his garage, he has one of these long, narrow garages for his house. So I asked everybody, and maybe you can remind me. We can let people think about it, or I can answer, or I can give the answer now. But there was something lined up all the way. No, there were a whole bunch of things lined up all the way along the wall in his garage. Thing after thing after thing after thing after thing, all the way down his garage. There were 50 of these things. So my question is, the famous Bob Glidden, what did he have 50 of that had nothing to do with drag racing that were lined in his garage?
Oh,
I do not know that.
No, I thought it was Wally's.
And you got to remember, this is old school. So the internet was still alive, but he bought every single golfing aid ever made to man. I said, Bob, what the hell are all those? He says, well, I saw one, and the way his brain thinks, and me and Billy had fun with him, and I talk to Rusty about it every once in a while, but it's like, I'm like, did any of them work? I didn't want to say you're not real good, so why did you keep buying them? But he wanted to get good, so.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to ask you too. Sorry, you go.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Say, because like I said, I'm very impressed by how you work with all these high school kids and college kids, and you get them. And a little fun fact, people may not know, you are behind helping Will Smith get into racing.
Oh, well, yeah. Will, you know what? I have tons of respect for anybody that does anything good. There's more to life than drag racing for sure. And Justin Ashley's like the king of the swing and stuff like that. And announcers always get beat on because they're just trying to tell the story and stuff. And I'm not beating on anybody, but Will Smith, I'm here to tell you, he did not get any tips on his 29 light from Justin. They haven't talked about that because I asked Will because they said something about it on the show, and Will came over here. I got this reaction timer bike. It's Gino's bike, and I'm supposed to be building it, but this is my reaction timer bike. It's a little messy in here. I shouldn't even be showing, but that's. And then I got a target. When I popped the clutch after looking at the tree, there's a target way over there on the tree that I look at. It's usually fluorescent orange, and I got to repaint it. But Will would come over here and he'd kill me every single time on this reaction timer. It really pissed me. It really upset me, So he's really good. And as far as me helping him, I did take it. I'm super, super proud. People like a lawyer. How many lawyers actually go in and do law work in a court? And most of the time it's what do they call it? It's handled out of court. Well, a lot of times sponsorships, especially after COVID, you never really meet the people. I haven't been around it much, so maybe they are. But my point is Will and I went to 2 big deals. We pitched SEMA, and in front of all the board, Will was there, and I primed him, and I taught him, and I was really, really proud of it, as you can tell. But he might not see it this way. But I really let him see how his answers could be changed and modified. And we did the same thing for the University of Alabama. We went to the president and pitched the deal. So obviously we didn't get either one of them, but I had the best picture of him on the starting line with the Army car in the background and helping Will a little tiny bit. Larry Dixon has been a huge mentor to him, and just a plethora of people. There's pro mod guys that he worked for. Shannon Jenkins, I think. Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Jenkins.
He was I believe a big mentor. So it's just cool. You gotta. That's what George Bryce is doing. I went to his engine school just lately, and people are passing it on, and that's really, really special stuff.
The first time I met Will Smith was in the Indianapolis airport when I was on the way to the PRI show. I'd gotten off the plane, was walking through the airport, and he came over and he said, "Excuse me, you Alan Reinhart?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "My name's Will Smith, and I'm going to drive Top Fuel someday."
Oh,
and I said, "Well, it's really nice to meet you." And we had a little conversation there. And then I've certainly followed along over the years as he's done the things that he can do to be out there, driving the alcohol guy, working the car, working as a crew guy, spent some time with PDRA on the marketing side of things, but just, learning every aspect of the sport, keeping his name and his face out there. A guy that's got that much ambition, sooner or later, is going to be successful, and you can't help but root for him because he's really putting his heart and soul into it.
Yeah, and then he gets his ass handed to him with this skin, with this, he had some kind of cancer thing, and it's, there's the Moe's thing. I had it right here, and they just they cut it out and they freeze it, and then they cut it out and then they pull a little skin over. Gosh darn it, Will, they just, they look after they've scraped it out, and they see that they make sure that they got all the margins. I may be saying way too much. Anyway, he had a horrible situation with that, and he's in the car, but I'm sure there's a lot of medicine. I'm checking my mail. There's going to be checks in here, all kinds of checks. Oh, there's some fan club mail here from Matt Smith. Oh, I'm going to send it back right away. Okay. Anyway.
I figured it was from Craig Treble.
Hold on. That truck is left. Wait, what did you say?
I said I figured it was from Craig Treble.
I was gonna put some sunglasses on and do like 50% of the show with sunglasses on, and then tell you that I ran into Matt and we got in a fight and he knocked me out. I thought that would spread as like it went viral or whatever,
I love your guys' little rivalries, whatever you want to call that. I love that. It keeps it entertaining.
Look, I got my lawn mowed. So Emma said, I never used to mow my lawn. Danny Lawrence at NASCAR on Childress's team. How could anybody say that guy was anything but class? I cannot believe that president that they fired. That guy is 100%. I rode a couple places, hung out with him, been to his place, and but anyway, where I was going with that, I don't know where I was going with that. Something about Emma told me you got to have the place clean. Oh, Danny Lawrence told me, don't worry about the lawn. Just let it. Don't worry about it. Just keep working on your engine. So, but I'm trying to represent the city of Irondale. It's a beautiful community, and I've been here 25 years, and so I'm trying to do my part. So I get the lawn mowed.
You talking about riding street bikes? Do you remember the one time you and I went for a ride?
Oh my gosh, Nicole! Well, for those of you that don't know, okay, so I was doing a thing with Suzuki, and they'd give me bikes, and then I would, I put people on them and let them ride them, and so I gave one to Alan, and we went riding, and to make the story really really short, Simi Valley has the most amount of police per capita than anywhere in the United States at the time, for sure. And Alan and I went for a bike ride. It was bad. We went up through Santa Susana Pass and Southern California. My buddy Rusty Gill, who races with me, and Mike Taylor, and I didn't know Jock back at that time, but it was all. I'm telling everybody, I'm going riding with Alan Reinhart, the announcer. And I was so happy and proud, and we're cruising and going through this stuff, kind of having fun. And the light turns green, and we're in the Simi Valley. And Alan goes about 20 feet. He gives me a nod. So I'm like, huh? He gives me a nod, and he takes off about 20 feet. And then he kicks it into a wheelie. And he rides this wheelie all the way down the street. Like a long way down the street.
I can't see this.
Do you know how many police are around here? And he says, no. So I'm like, well, okay. Yeah. That's I'd
love to see that.
That was long before it was cool where people do all the wheelies and stuff like that. But it's it was funny. Those promotions, the guy that owns St. Elmo's, everybody knows St. Elmo's in Indianapolis. I raced with him and we won. It was called a corporate challenge in Indianapolis before, in the old days with the Winston brand. It just seemed like we did different promotions to engage other part of the community. And, we make a $25 to $35 million economic impact to the communities that we race in. And it's so important for the infrastructure of those cities to know that drag racing, no matter what they may think of it, if it's not good, then it's great for your economy. And so NHRA would bring these people in, and we'd race with them with these Pontiacs or whatever we had, and we won. And so I've been friends with Steve for Steve Hughes for a long time, and I'm very very proud of that. I asked him how to get a loan for my shop when I was building my shop. I asked him what to do, and he's obviously a savvy guy, so he gave me some direction.
Does he give you free shrimp cocktails for life now since you helped him win that race?
No, but if you he's opening a brand new place in Arizona. It's Harry and Lizzie. Harry and Lizzie, yeah. So that was that's very special. But I'll tell you, Alan, you talk about some of the old days with some of these guys, and Steve, Dave McClellan, and Bob Fry, Leo Tower. All these guys were so special. And when at the twilight of my career, getting educated by George Bryce on how to, building our own engines. I've talked to you about it on the phone for a long time. And I'm telling you, folks, I swear if I had $10 million, I'd still be in my little tiny room building these engines. They are so much fun. And when you understand the events, the 4 events of what is going on with your camshaft: intake closing, intake opening, exhaust opening, intake closing, not lobe separation. And when you start understanding, and you can move the cam, and you start changing valve sizes and changing port volume, and all the things that go on, changing the pistons. Oh my God, he taught me about you can make little teeny tiny Formula One piston, like real tiny or real tall, compression height, and just all the things there are to learn. And I know this much about it, but I'm so excited. But it's a lot of fun to build your own engines. I just wish I could keep up with Matt and Vance and Hines. That I promise you, I'm not going to the races no more unless I think we can win.
Well, now the engine thing is something that started relatively new for you, right? Within the last, what, 5 years maybe, or a little bit longer than that. And one, you've got the stuff that you need in your shop. And two, you've kind of assembled a brain trust of some pretty sharp guys out there that you can call or that you can bounce ideas off of that'll point you in a direction when you get stuck, right?
Yeah, yeah. George, I said I'm friends with Bill Moropoulos. My buddy Eddie Alvarez hooked me up with him. He hung out at the street races a little bit. He's retired. He's a 3-time comp, and I didn't realize Bruno is a 4-time champ now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's the only 4-time champ, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's badass. So anyway, and Bruno's dad, I talked to his dad. He's such a good guy, and just that's the engine guy. And just because people are old doesn't mean they don't know anything. And I'm obviously past that kind of that ignorance now. But between Moropoulos and Austin Coyle, I mean, we talk all the time, and man, he has some incredible stories. Oh my gosh. And I mean, the good, all the ones you can talk about. I mean, he's got plenty of other, but it's like, oh, they did the craziest stuff back in the old days. And listening to Frank Hawley on your podcast, it was so fun. When Austin told him, hey man, do not overdrive this car, do not wreck this car. We only have one of them. And I'm gonna tell you that we cut the roll bar off and we soldered it back on. And so
Yep.
if you think if it's gonna be protected, you're not. So and then Frank called me back because I told him, it was really good that he did that interview and let everybody know what was going on and stuff. And we had a great talk. And it's so prestigious to know Frank. He was 41 years in Gainesville, so he's done a lot to help a lot of people racing.
Pretty crazy. Chris McGahey is also on your list, is he not?
Yes, Chris. Yes, Chris. He's gosh darn it. That's a brutal class. But I go down to his shop and it's so cool, y'all. I mean, you wouldn't get this, but in the old days, Alan, you could help me. It was. What was it? Was it $50,000 a weekend to rent a Pro Stock engine?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm telling you, folks, it was crazy. And we all know money's more valued now, or whatever the saying is. But back in those days, it might not have been 50, maybe it was 25 or something. But whatever it was so much money. And I looked at those and I'm like, wow. And then to be able to go into a Pro Stock car shop and get to work on the dyno with Mason, his son, and Rick Waters was there at the time, and I got to do valve springs, and I took an engine apart and put them. Helped. It helped. I tightened a few bolts, but with Lump was over there, and then go to dinner with him. I mean, it's just, he's definitely done better. He's won big races, including the U.S. Nationals. It's just right now he's just a tick behind, but it's still really, really special to, like you said, our fraternity of drag racers is really neat. And from Top Fuel, I see Joe Amato at the races, and it's cool, and Bernstein and Cheryl. Cheryl is probably the smartest girl there. No disrespect to any girls, but she was so savvy in her day when she was there. Good night. He had an Indy car, y'all. He had a Top Fuel car. No, he had an IndyCar team. He had a dragster Top Fuel NHRA team. And he had a NASCAR team all at the same time, y'all. So Bernstein, I was traveling in the right circles when I was watching him in Winner's Circle.
So what's next for you, Steve? You mentioned twilight of your career a time or two. How many more years do you want to do this? Have you even thought about that, or you just don't know any better, so you keep going?
Well, I want to help my gal, Emma. I told her she is so smart, highly educated, and she does social media and event planning, and she does all these things for the city here. And but if
if she wanted to, she could resurrect my career from the sponsorship standpoint and the business standpoint. So inside this facility that I'm really, really proud of, I had built 25 years ago, and I'm going to get it paid off soon. I'm not sure when, but it's one of these things where she understands the business. She's the Cheryl Bernstein for me. And, we have a truck and trailer, and we could do all this stuff. So I think about that. I think about how hard she'd have to work. And I really do enjoy doing the engines, but I really want, I hate saying this, but I kind of want to win a championship, but it's very, very difficult. Vance and Hines is, if you all saw Vance and Hines' shop and you saw my resources next to theirs, you'd understand. But I think that's why what Bob Fry and you used to always say, we don't do it on paper, we do it at the drag strip. So Angie had me killed last at Gainesville, and so did Gianna and all the girls. It's fun to. I love it when we're not here, or when we're not at the races and we don't have to deal with everything. But our class, y'all, is so good. There are so many different ways to make money in pro stock motorcycle. I just have no idea why anybody would want to drag race something else from the standpoint of trying to turn it into a career and making money. Sponsorship and you have to shoot high. You got to ask for a lot, but you got to deliver a lot, and you can do it with inside the sanction body, NHRA. There's so many ways to get money, and I think I still want to do it. It's it's still crazy exciting. We're going to the 4-wide, y'all, and that we've won that, I think. And my buddy Jeff Perella and his son Joe are coming. Jock had to go had a birthday party for his daughter in Gainesville, so he wasn't there. But the diversity in our class and how hard it is to ride a motorcycle, I'm telling you, it's the hardest vehicle at the drag races to negotiate perfectly. I'm gonna get my butt kicked for that, but it's just my opinion. And I don't know if you could ask Frank Hawley that or who, but they're very, very difficult. George Bryce taught 900 people how to ride a pro stock motorcycle that all knew how to do it. They just needed their license, and he only signed 10% of them for licenses. They are very, very difficult to ride perfect. Getting your license is another thing, so I'm kind of convoluted there, but they're Gage and Richard Gadsden and Matt, and there's a lot of people that ride their motorcycles so good. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, because we're trying to get people to come in, but it is very, very difficult to ride perfectly.
Well, Nicole, do you have anything else for our special guest this week?
Did he already leave us? His screen just went black.
I hope not.
Because I was going to do two things. I was just going to, brag on him, because he really helped me and was really supportive of me in between when I was, trying to find jobs doing marketing and social media and racing and getting a TV station. And he's always been so supportive of me. And I've, done work for him, like video and social and pictures and stuff like that I'm very proud of. And he's such a good teacher and mentor. So I wanted to thank him for that. And also share my favorite Christmas party story. Wish TV. We're having a big Christmas party. It's my first one. And one of the promotion producers putting together like the blooper fun video, and he had told me, wait till you see, there's this crazy mellow yellow guy from the drag races. Oh my God, wait till you see a crazy mellow yellow guy. So we're at this Christmas party, and it's, dead quiet. We're watching this video, and all of a sudden, Steve Johnson pops up on screen doing his mellow yellow interview, with talking and being all crazy, Steve energy. And I think you could hear me go, oh my gosh. And I immediately texting him like, Steve, you're on the video at my Christmas party right now.
Hey, am I back on?
Yeah, you missed it. I was telling them. I think I heard. Well, no, did you hear me, though, before that, giving you thanks for, you're very supportive of, like, me and even my family, and I've shot video for you and pictures for you, and you helped me get back out in the track and give me some confidence back. So I will always be so grateful for you for giving me the opportunity to help you out. And I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Your family's so nice to me at the PRI show, and JR, when he was fighting COVID, you know, I'd call him, and I had Jock's deal going on, and it was just, it's so easy to have grace. I know a very successful guy that owns the Wyotech, and you know, if you're a parent and you have somebody that's interested, somebody in school that's interested in being a technician, you know, go to stevejohnsonracing.com and look at scholarships, and there's a Batman scholarship there. But gosh darn it, I always forget where the heck I was going with that. But it's so the Wyotech guy, he tells all this stories, and he's very, very successful, thousands and thousands of acres and cattle and all this stuff. And he was telling me a story, and how he helped this kid that wasn't even supposed to be up there, and he gave him some space and let him do some stuff. Anyway, the story is he really messed up. He wrecked some stuff and everything. And I said, what did you do? And he says, I gave him grace. And I think if our country, I'm up on a soapbox now, but I think if we as a society just gave a little teeny tiny bit more grace to people in our everyday actions, in our thoughts, except on the starting line. No grace on the starting line. Thank God I didn't. She had a 190 light, or whatever her light was. She had an accident, something got in her eyes or whatever. But you know, if I wouldn't have had a good light, I'm like, oh, she would have killed me, and I would have died and losing to that. But you know, just give some people some grace, and I think that's a good message.
Yes. So thank you,
Steve. We're going to let you go so you can get back to getting prepared for the 4 wides that are going to be coming up here in just a couple of weeks. But I do want to thank you very much again for taking time to come in and be a part of the Alan Reinhart Show. Very, very great to have you, and maybe we can do this again sometime when we've got more crazy stories to tell.
Yeah, I hope to the count. Everybody knows the countdown is where everything gets paid, and I don't think Vance and Hines has done any development in a year or two, but I know Matt wants it, and I know I want it, and all the girls and Gino and everybody else that races our class, Mark Ingerson, and I'm forgetting 100 people, and Ryan. Oh my God, Ryan's killing it right now. He's got such an infrastructure of strength. Gosh darn it. And Braden with him. But yeah, I love our class, and I love the 75th. And I'll leave with this. When people talk about the 75th, I got to know Wally Parks. Okay, so I'm old enough to where we used to park on the Indy. We used to park on the other side. Okay, the pros were on the right side, I guess, and we were on the other side, the quote unquote sportsman side, which I think is all going to change now. But we're sitting there, and I got my 30-foot box truck in there, and 2 golf carts pull up, and it's Wally Parks, and I've got this carpet that I copied from Bernstein, and I've got a 4x4 table or 3x3 table with plastic flowers in there because he had real flowers in his hospitality area. And Wally came and sat down with me and talked, and his entourage with Dick Wells and all the people with him. Gosh, I forget these people's names, but anyway, it was just cool. And he called me on the phone, and we talked about sponsorship for a car he was doing or helping at Bonneville. So, you know, 75th anniversary, none of us would be here in theory without Wally's vision. And it's just really nice to know the man. And I got to know, I'm friends with his grandson, Scott. So I'm trying to do some name dropping right here, right? So, but anyway, it's thank you for giving me a platform to talk about Batman and to talk about pro stock motorcycles and to talk about giving some grace.
And thanks to you for opening up and letting the fans get to know a little bit more about you, especially, you know, the newer fans don't know some of those old crazy stories from back in the day. So really appreciate you coming, opening up, and spending a little time with Nicole and myself.
Yeah, and don't tell anybody about the Larry Dixon story. That's just between us, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's just us, okay?
Well, I'll reach out to him for a rebuttal at some point in the upcoming weeks.
Oh my God. And we all thought it was so cool. He was going to get thrown in jail, and the helicopter's going by him when they passed right in front of us on the return road. And it's going, woo, 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 and the light's shining down on him, and he's driving by, and we're all like, woo, Larry! Oh my gosh. All right.
And there you have it. Thanks, Steve.
Bye.
See ya. Oh man, you never know what you're going to get with Steve, but you're always going to get. Well, today we got that. I'll take it, every minute of it.
Yeah, so low energy. He should really have a monster or something like that because he's just so low energy.
Yeah, him and Matty Gordon. If they ever just snap out of the shell, I think there'll be some. Hey, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. We've got That Strange. We've got the viral video. We've still got Ask the Announcer in my little tech bit.
Yes.
But first, these words from Weldon.
Take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you gotta give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
QuartermileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuartermileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuartermileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Roof Deck Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuartermileClassifieds.com today.
Now ask the announcer in your.
Oh, you want to go there next? All right. Well, let's go with Ask the Announcer. I'll do the first thing because I've gotten 3 or 4 questions about this. Everybody wants to know what the FRS on my hat stands for, and
what is it?
It's first rate service, as far as you know. It's really kind of it's kind of an insider joke. It's not anything dirty, but it's kind of an insider joke, and you can buy me a beer sometime, and I'll maybe tell you what it really stands for. But again, it's not dirty. It's just kind of a little insider joke. So I was thinking about, we're going to get into the tech stuff. One of the things that the Nitro School people were always very fascinated by was the difference in pistons that they run between some of the different machines. So I've got a little piston collection here that I will share with you. This is one of my real favorite deals. That is a Pro Stock piston. That is a Nitro piston. Now, both engines are 500 cubic inches, but a Pro Stock engine has a huge bore and a short stroke. A Nitro engine has a much smaller bore, 4.1875 if you want to get technical, and these are about 4,700, and a much longer stroke. And it's because the burn properties of the fuel that they run, you want to have a smaller piston, longer stroke to run with Nitro. And with a naturally aspirated gasoline engine, more cubic inches are always better, okay? If you can build a bigger engine, build a bigger engine. But a naturally aspirated gas burning engine that has a cubic inch limit will make more power with a big bore and a short stroke than the other combination. So, top fuel piston, injected nitro piston. See the difference in dome? That's because with the top fuel piston, you've got a big old blower putting about 60 pounds of boost in there, so you do not need a lot of mechanical compression. But with an injected nitro car, since you don't have the blower, you've got to run a whole lot more compression in an injected nitro car. Top fuel, 6.5, somewhere in that neighborhood to 1. Injected nitro, closer to 14 to 1. Going from injected nitro, alcohol funny car. Big piston. Alcohol funny cars are bigger engines than the injected nitro or even the blown alcohol by about 80 or 90 cubic inches, depending on the exact combination. But aluminum piston, much lighter weight because it doesn't have to deal with the thrust of burning. So alcohol piston, again, very high compression, even with the blower on a top alcohol machine. But they are a whole lot lighter, a whole lot less robust, simply because they're not getting quite as much force put to them. Pro Stock Suzuki. Pro Stock V-twin. 2 of these, 160 cubic inches. 4 of these, 1,500 cc's. About 14,000 RPMs, these things are swinging. These things now, 10,500 is the limit, but that's Pro Stock Motorcycle versus Pro Stock Motorcycle V-Twin versus Pro Stock Suzuki. And the last one that is just kind of fun, 959 cubic inch nitrous Pro Mod. That's a monster. Anybody ever tells you, oh, I'm building a big bore or something? No, you're not. not unless you're building a 959. So that's my little piston collection. And I've got a couple of things lined up in the coming weeks. We'll go through some other parts and pieces in the engine. You got a question? You got something you want to see? Shoot me a note. Ask the announcer CPTV, as in Competition Plus TV. Ask the announcer CPTV at gmail.com. Let's hear a word from Strange Engineering, and then I'm going to show you something that's really strange.
We're going. And if not, we don't get to...
Into the guardrail, but we can see it looks like he's getting out of the car under his own power.
That safety team was on it. They were on it.
I'm glad they didn't just throw a guy out of the back of the Jeep when he comes blasting in there.
But they already had the like powder down and everything, kitty litter down before nothing. They were on it. And that was Larry Carrier, IHRA. That's right. And there was a super rod crash.
Yeah, way back. And I said super gas, I think. I still got I'm still working on the transition between the rod classes and the gas classes and some of the other stuff from going back and forth. But that was that's strange moment of the week. And what does that bring us to?
Well, we have to give a big, huge sponsor thank you to VP Racing Fuels. They are new to our show. And they're very big over in the IHRA races where you were at. They have their VP Racing little mascot, dude. But we just wanted to thank VP Race Fuels for being a sponsor. And then next thing,
when the love of your life turns into a waste of time, when there's no peace of mind, something's wrong. When there's no peace of mind, something's wrong.
I like that. I'm that neighbor who makes all the other neighbors look bad with my lawn. I'm not gonna lie. I'm that girl.
Yeah. My front lawn is gravel because I decided many years ago, with all the time that I spend out of town and I kept coming back and having the neighborhood cats playing Game of Thrones, that I needed parking more than I needed weeds. So I just knocked everything down, put gravel in the front yard, and now I'm everybody's favorite parking lot when the neighbors have parties or have something going on over there.
Nice.
That takes us to today's viral video, brought to us by the Competition Plus Store.com. If you haven't checked out some of the classic, stylish, new gen and old gen merch, that's where you find it, CompetitionPlusStore.com. Let's take a look at the viral video. Earlier this year in testing, Sean Langdon went 345 miles an hour. Yeah. Didn't take him long to get there, did it?
No.
That was out at Gainesville early in the season, and Brian Houston, crew chief on the Coletta Careers car, said that it really was kind of a happy accident. They didn't go up there trying to do that, but there were a couple of little things that happened that helped it pick up a couple more mile an hour going down the backside of the track. And he says he doesn't believe that he could make the car duplicate it, But who knows? In the perfect conditions, every once in a while they'll give you a little bit more than you ask for, and that's exactly what happened on that run. Not a record, but it is the fastest top fuel speed in history.
And that's how it looks coming at you, is that video. It's like, here it comes. I don't know how people do wall work. The photographers, I tried to do wall photographers once, and I'm like, nope, I don't need to do that again.
The problem, I know I could never be a photographer because when I'm sitting there looking through the lens and something happens, I'm going to move the camera so I can see it.
Yes.
I'm going to go, okay, here he comes. Wow, look at that. And then I'm going to have great pictures of, the guard wall or, the grandstands or the side of the scoreboard or something stupid down there at the other end.
Yeah, I did that with video once. I had the camera, and I'm like, "What? Oh, sorry."
So what's on the Nicole Clark agenda for the next week or two until we get together again and do this?
Well, for me, it's all TV life for me. But we should be when we get back. Charlotte? It's gonna be right before Charlotte. We'll be getting ready for that before next Charlotte. I will not be in Charlotte. I have a great team, though. I love social media team for Competition Plus there. I'll actually be running a 5K for the Brownsburg Bulldog Orchestra Band.
Really?
Kids. Yeah, I do. I do 4 or 5K a year, and this one's for the Brownsburg. I was a band kid growing up, so I'm helping out the Brownsburg band. So I'll be doing that, and then social media. But we have a great team out there. Bobby will be out there. And besides that, I'm TV life, man. We have a third TV station now, and we're trying to transition that. And so I've just gone home the last few days. Like I just want to curl up in a ball.
Well, as I mentioned, I had originally planned to be in Las Vegas this week, but that ended up not happening. And I've got a trip to Sydney coming up pretty soon. When I was down in Adelaide. Yeah, when I was down in Adelaide, Santo Rapazarda, who is the probably most powerful top fuel guy down in Australia, invited me for dinner, and we were sitting chatting, and he told me he's very heavily involved with the Sydney racetrack. That's his home track. And he said, "You're coming to my race in May." And I said,
"Okay.
I am?" And he said, "Yes, you are." I said, "Okay, when in May?" He said, "First, second, and third." I got my phone out and looked, and I said, "Well, I'm free that weekend." And he said, "What'll it take?" I said, "Plane ticket." He said, "Done. What else?" But, okay, so I'll be heading back down there. Another, glorious 16-hour trip in a pressurized tube flying over the ocean. But
May here in Indy. I'm sorry. I love my drag racing. I love it. But since I moved here, that month of May for IndyCar racing, I'm just such a fan. I'll be out the track there multiple times. I'm hoping to hit Chicago race, but usually they keep having the Chicago race when I'm doing mentoring girls out at IMS. So we'll have to see, but I'm sorry. I'm a big, huge fan. And I feel bad though. I will tell you really quick. I do believe the Maple Grove race and the first Triple Crown for IHRA, I do believe that's Memorial Weekend, correct?
Sure.
22nd, 23rd. That's IndyCar weekend. So the team, that's Indy 500 weekend. So I'm sure some of the teams are going to be very sad about missing Carb Day and racing, but oh well. You're going for the $1 million purse, so.
Yeah, hey, you know what? With $1 million up for grabs, you can watch the Indy 500 on television. I guess that's one race that I've actually never been to, and I would like to at least once be able to go, cross it off my list. Now I've never been to the Daytona 500 either, but I have been to what used to be the Firecracker 400. So I've been to races at Daytona. I feel like I've experienced that, but the Indy 500 is definitely on my list. Also, I think I forgot to mention the quarter mile classifieds are the ones that bring the Ask the Announcer, and I guess they're now our tech spot sponsor. So if you're looking to buy, you're looking to sell, you're looking to do anything, the place to do that is quarter mile classifieds. And I think the only thing we have left is the good old
Mr. Titchener,
Throwback.
I'm concerned about my
Check this out.
Instead of a nice young man, all she's interested in is one of your cars.
Hard to believe, Mama.
198 cubes, 3.4-inch bore, 4 main bearings. It ought to be easy on gas.
Mr. Titchener, may I give it my own little test now?
Give it the works, Ethel. The Duster's big enough to take it.
I like the torsion bar suspension with the lateral control arms. And the body reinforced by steel girders welded into a single unit. No wonder it's so popular. And the size, small enough for tight little spaces.
Mr. Titchener, what kind of a young man would be attracted to this Plymouth dustpan?
The Duster, Mama? Why, an engineer would love it.
An engineer I got. What I need now is a son-in-law.
Not sexist at all.
You call it a dustpan? What kind of guy attracted to a dustpan? Oh, that's a thing of beauty. 1973 Plymouth Duster. Well, at least I learned one thing from that. If Ethel ever comes by and wants to drive one of my cars, that's going to be no chance, no way, no how. She is not getting in one of mine.
Yeah, I'll try not to do that too. But yeah, that I don't think that ad would go over very well today. I think some of the women have something to say about that.
Yeah, well, like Steve said, we need more grace. Nobody's got any sense of humor anymore, you know?
No. I'm like, good, have a good laugh. Come on.
Yeah. Well, we ran a little over our allotted time, but I don't think that I would have edited anything out from Steve Johnson, except maybe the glitches in his internet. But other than that, it was a fun show. It was. I hope you guys learned a little something about the crazy guy on the motorcycle that maybe you didn't know, and maybe you learned something from the technical side of things too. As I said, if you have a question, comment, anything you want to share with me, ask the announcer CPTV.gmail. Or gmail.com. So yeah, ask the announcer CPTV at gmail.com. Yeah, it's up there. Just click the link and do that. And Nicole and I will be back in a couple of weeks. Always a pleasure, man. Nice hanging out with you. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you. Always fun to come down and join you. And I learned so much from you.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.